Hari Om, Jai Sri Ram. Thank you, Soumya. It's a very great pleasure to see you. You missed out yourself. You have been also my teacher for Sanskrit. So I learnt Siddhanta Kaumudi from you only. So thank you very much. And I remember the day when I met you in your house with your small kid. And you have been a great, inspiring teacher because grammar, Sanskrit grammar at that particular point of time was much beyond my reach. So thank you so much for all your support and help. Today, this day, I remember my the great Adi Shankaracharya, Pujya Bhagavad-pada, a great scholar of 800 AD, in 800 AD, who brought back the entire our Vedic wealth, which was lost in prior to him before a very long time. Our ancient treasures of the Vedic knowledge, as time passed by and due to various invasions, the treasure of the Vedic traditions was completely lost to India. That in around 800 AD, we were ruled by great emperors who were all either Jains or Buddhists. And at that particular point of time, Bhagavad-pada brought back our ancient treasure, and he gave it to us in his form of his Bhashya. And that particular Bhashya gives us the insight of our treasures, which was written 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 years back, the intricacies and the sukshma of our great texts unfolded to us through Bhagavad-pada. And his much, the Shankaracharya much, where he established in 4 great centers, and the great Guru Parampara we have from then on, where the great sannyasis have been spreading his message throughout the world, that this Advaita Siddhanta has become so famous and have so many followers. And accordingly, I was inspired greatly by Kanchi Mahan, Chandrasekhara Saraswati Swami of Kanchi. And he was a great inspirer. And at that particular point of time, when the language was completely lost to me, and I was not aware. I knew only the Tamil language and the English language. I was not aware of all these ancient treasures. Then I got introduced to Swami Dayananda Saraswati, who hails from my same place. And he connected me to Swami Paramarthananda, under whom I started studying Advaita Vedanta for a long time. Then after around 7 to 8 years of studying Advaita Vedanta, I used to use English translation. So using the English translation, I used to study the Vedanta. So when I came to the Brahma Sutra, then Pujya Swami Paramarthananda, he asked me, "Are you still going to study through translation?" Then I said, "Swamiji, I am a very bad language student. Even during my school days, I used to mug up English and write. So I have no experience or any idea about the language, particularly even English language, I don't know anything. And the Tamil language also, we studied and I had forgotten. So it would not be possible for me." Then he told me one thing, and which I wanted to share with all of the youngsters. Maybe I don't know who the crowds are here and what is their age groups. So I expect several youngsters are also there in this particular group. It's a very important advice he gave me. What he told me was, our ancestors, they have placed in us, in our DNA, the language. And it is through our ancient system of Sanskrit is through sound. The script came only in the 13th century. It has been even today, the Rig Veda, the chanting, the Taittiriya Bhashya chanting, as it is chanted in North India, it is same chanted in the South India. It is chanted in Assam also the same way. It is chanted in Rajasthan also the same way. So the sound by which these mantras have been transmitted to us has been constant for several thousands and thousands of years. So this is there in our DNA. Even though we are Machiavelli educated, if at all we give ourselves a chance to make an attempt to restore this language in us and bring it back. If we give it a chance, it will automatically come out. This is the truth which I experienced. And in this, the greatest inspiration was Soumya's daughter. When I visited her house for the first time to see, because Banu Mami is from my same village, okay, and she was a classmate of my elder sister. So I know her very personally also, and through her I went and met Soumya, who was very near my house. Her daughter was crying in Sanskrit language. I was so amazed, and I could not even believe my ears. This was the first experience for me to see a kid who has been brought up and who has been completely trained in the Sanskrit language from the day birth, that the child thinks in Sanskrit. This is extremely important. So I learned from Swami Paramarthananda why he wanted to give preference to the mother tongue and Sanskrit. Both are in India, both mother tongue and Sanskrit are interrelated. There is not a single mother tongue in India which has got no connection with Sanskrit language. Such a language doesn't exist in India. Only the percentage will vary between 20%, 30%, 50%. Words of all the mother tongue languages has mixed with the complete the Sanskrit. It is very important that we have to think about our Indian tradition only through either Sanskrit language or through our mother tongue, particularly through our mother tongue. If we start thinking the tradition through our own mother tongue and our own Sanskrit languages, then only we will be able to understand the intricacies of the great thinking of all our Maharishis. Simply without understanding them through our mother tongue, if we start interpreting it through a Machiavellian English language, which I am currently communicating, okay, we will never be able to understand our the intricacies of the why it is being said and what is it is being said, and it will be getting into some kind of a secular definition, okay, which is what we are going through now. After 70 years, these things are now getting revived, and all the truths are now coming out. So when I saw her daughter speaking in the Sanskrit language, and the child at that time, now she would have become very big now, and at that time she was around 2-3 years old. I remember the kid, she was taking bath, and she was giving trouble to Soumya for eating, and Soumya was telling her in Sanskrit language, and the child, she was replying in such a fantastic language. It was a great inspirer for me. I came back and I thought about it. Then I said whether it could doable or not doable. Then I went to Vishalakshi. Vishalakshi is a great, one of the great teachers where I have come across. A lady of, she's Ambal Swarupam herself. Saraswati Kataksha is enormous Kataksha, enormous knowledge. And I went to her, and she was holding a small Chittoor book. And she told me, Mama, we will start with that. Then I had a session for about 1 hour. I couldn't understand head or tail. First person, second person, ekavachana, dvivachana, nothing it could enter my head at all. And I was completely lost. And I never knew, or I didn't have the confidence to get into the subject. Then I happened to get introduced to Venkata Subramaniam, whom is the mentor or managing director of Vyoma, and I met him. And he told me, Mama, at your advanced age, maybe it is not suitable for you, and maybe you can try at this level, and maybe you can do something. Then I told him, Venkat, I have a lot of these things to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, aspirations for me to learn higher subjects without even knowing the language. And he told me, Mama, it takes preparation. It takes minimum 15 to 18 years to cross these things, and it is not so easy. So he encouraged me to get into this Chittoor also. Then I got associated with the great Mahadev Sharma, who is now not with us. Mahadev Sharma was the director in Parichaya. He is a master of 6 languages and a great Sanskrit scholar. And he virtually he was the person who really, he was such a busy guy. He used to teach me from airport. That was the great personality and his dedication to Sanskrit language. I remember, I wanted to remember him today because he is not in amidst us. And he encouraged me completely to get into it. And then I went back. I don't live in India, I live abroad. Samskrita Bharati we should appreciate. The great Samskrita Bharati learning organizations, we must all go over greatest respect to Samskrita Bharati and contribute as much as possible in the development of Samskrita Bharati. The way they have dedicated themselves in the development of both speaking language as well as their preliminary exams. I started learning the Samskrita Bhasha through Samskrita Bharati for the purposes of talking. And because I really wanted to learn and I wanted to talk in Sanskrit. It has been one of my dreams to do this. And when I went to the first class in Samskrita Bharati in abroad here in the Middle East, for the first level, for the Pravesha, you know, my co-student and my first teacher was a 10-year-old girl. She was sitting next to me and she was in level 2 and I was in level 1 in Pravesha. Believe me, that child, she taught me. She told me, she used to call me Tata. Tata, don't worry, I will teach you. I mean, I got so attracted to that child. And she taught me for the first level for the Pravesha. And she used to encourage me how to write the script and everything and how to read. I learned from her for almost 1 month or 2 months from that particular child. And when these people were my inspirators, the young children of 3-year-olds and 10-year-old, when they can do it, and we at this age and elders, we must try to put our effort to learn. So there my journey started. Then after I started my journey, believe me, my friends, Bhagavad Pada, he took me along. The DNA automatically took over. The language flowed. And the Tamil language, to think the Sanskrit through Tamil was easier for me. They both have got such a great interconnection that the grammar and the various complexities of the subjects and samasas and compounding and sandhi rules, everything is interconnected with Tamil language. So if I completely, it took me around 6 years not to think of this through English language. And I started addressing Sanskrit through my Tamil language. It was much faster. Then Banu Mami, I went through her with the basic course, which now Soumya has now undertaken to teach all these youngsters. As she said, Banu Mami did not have lectures. So I collected her lectures from the Banu Mami for the initial level. And Banu Mami had a sister, another great Sanskrit scholar, and Malati Mami. She is the teacher of Gayatri and Vishalakshi student of Banu Mami. I went and met Malati Mami at her house. She was in a very advanced stage and she was suffering from some illness. I collected all these lectures. If students must listen to Malati Mami's lecture on Samasa. One of the fantastic lectures I have ever heard. Very knowledgeable they are. And the Samskrita Bodhini lectures of Banu Mami, all those things I collected. And then we started with Vyoma. I got connected with Venkat. In fact, Venkat's wife did a great contribution in this. Okay, I remember her today because Venkat connected her to me, his wife to me. She did a great contribution in. I collected all the course material right from the first stage because most of the Chittoor books were out of print. They are not very well managed. And several of these texts were completely lost and not available for students. Several question papers also were not available. Then we made all the arrangements to scan all these original documents of the Chittoor exam. And Venkat's wife, she did this job of scanning all the documents. Then she connected all the audio lectures. So she and I worked together in putting up the original audio lectures, whatever was available for Banu Mami. Then Mahadev Sharma, he put me on to the another great scholar which inspired Soumya also, Srimati Prabha. She was my teacher for Vichakshana also. She brought me to Bangalore, and she taught me for I wrote the exams in Vichakshana at her house in Bangalore only. So through Prabha also she was helping me in this particular course. Then we collected all the lectures. Then I became student of Mahadev Sharma. I became student of Visalakshi. I became student of Gayatri. And so we collected all her. I myself was a student. I remember Visalakshi having so much struggle in trying to teach me, because she is in Mount Everest and I am in a Kara platform in this language. So it requires, it's very, very difficult for experts like Soumya or even Visalakshi to teach someone of very, very, very basic level. But Visalakshi had that great talent, and she put up with me, and she took me along the Kirata Arjuniam, and I am the student in all the lectures. And all the Visalakshi and Gayatri's lectures for Vyoma, the student is me. So I studied them, and they took me along through the Kavya, and they are really great experts. Then I convinced Gayatri to take the great text Prataparudriyam. This great text Prataparudriyam, nobody has taken this text fully in a recorded session. This is one of the greatest valuable treasure of Vyoma, that this Prataparudriyam, that particular text is so complex and very difficult text, but Gayatri took it, she completed the whole thing. We have to hats off to Gayatri for two texts. She completed Kadambari and she completed Prataparudriyam. I mean, this Brihat Kadambari, it took us almost close to 3 years to complete the lectures. Word by word she has taken in Kadambari. So it was an excellent experience to go through the Kadambari, the epitome of Sanskrit Gadya. And of course, one has to listen to the Siddhanta Kaumudi of Soumya, one of the greatest lectures I have ever experienced, because it was not possible for me to learn grammar. I listened to her Siddhanta Kaumudi lectures, each lecture at least 4 times, to understand the great thinking of the great Panini. Anybody who is worth a scientist or an engineer should definitely study Panini, just for the thinking in his mind in putting up that particular sutra and trying to give nobody human can ever achieve this. No human being currently can even put up a sutra and put up this kind of a Sanskrit language derivation formula. Impossible even today, even with artificial intelligence, they cannot do it. That is the greatness of the Panini and Maharishi, and the way Soumya has explained it in Siddhanta Kaumudi, every student must study this. Every youngsters, I encourage them, please spend time in Panini, please spend time in Soumya's lectures on Siddhanta Kaumudi, and please spend time to understand the Sanskrit grammar. It is the pride of all our Indians that we can challenge the entire world of artificial intelligence with Panini. And there is no equivalent to Panini in this entire world of the creation of a particular language. And there is no other better teacher than Soumya to teach this subject matter at this current era. Okay, Pushpa Dikshita ji and all are very old now. Okay, so they are all great scholars, and Vyoma is having all these lectures available now for Kavya. We have recorded the entire range of Kavya, because the Chittoor exams has one of the best syllabuses in the world. It covers full text. They don't prescribe any half a measure. They prescribe the full text. They want the students to study the full text. They want the students to write the exams in Sanskrit. They want the students to get proficient in Sanskrit, thinking in Sanskrit through their mother tongue. So the exams are very well constructed by the great people whoever had set up the syllabus. And all these texts today are available to the students from Vyoma with great teachers. Entire Kavya range is available. The great scholars of Kalidasa, Abhinyana Sarakuntalam, Mrichakatikam, everything is available. And even the grammar text, Siddhanta Kaumudi, and everything is available for in the Vyoma website. And even in every student must aim that the current enrollment of level 1 and level 2, the same level of enrollment should be there for the level 3, 4, 5. Because the level 3, 4, 5, and 6 are the most interesting aspects of the great Sanskrit tradition. And actually, how Soumya and the other teachers, they are good at the basic level. You can imagine how they will be at when you see them at level 3, level 4, level 5, and level 6. I want all the students to enjoy this because their great expertise, their great knowledge, and their great the amount of dedication they have given to study the subject, master it, and then give and try to teach the students in a very because the subjects are so complex and there is a lot of sukshma built into it. It requires the skill sets of 6 different aspects. To explain a particular kavya, one must have mastery in language, mastery in grammar, mastery in Vedanta, mastery in Purvamimamsa, mastery in Nyaya Shastra. You must have a variety of knowledge to interpret a particular text, because in Indian tradition all these are interconnected. And any great author, whenever he wants to say something about the subject matter in which he is specialized in that subject matter, he will always take or quote or take references from the other darshanas and the other great works. He will try to relate and he will try to bring it into his whatever he wishes to say. And he expects the reader will also be knowing, because in those years everybody knew several of these aspects. But today it is very difficult. Now these teachers have to refer, bring in all it at one place, and then they will try to present it to you, and for you to grasp the subject matter and write your exams. So this is what I wanted to communicate to all of you. All of you must definitely try to study within Vyoma. The enrollment to Vyoma must also go up, and several of the efforts done, and it to pass on to the next generation. Several texts are also to be added, and they have vast expansion plans also to take up the language to further levels. And myself and Venkat, we are also talking of trying to get in a deemed university status for Vyoma, which was also my dream, and which we will see how it will be taking over. So we will be able to certify ourselves. So these are all great plans, which is for the future, which are all in the plate for discussions. So I wish all the students the very best to take them to the level 3, 4, 5, 6, and ultimate 7, and go through the entire course and try to finish it as early as possible with all the great interests with it. With all this, thank you so much, Soumya, for all these things, and